Hi folks, welcome back to the Addicted Bookworm. Before I begin, I want to say thank you everybody for all your thumbs ups. I really do appreciate it. Also, I don't know if I mentioned this in the previous video, but I got the new Matt Dinniman book that came out. No, not the one that's connected to Dungeon Crawling Carl, but this one is Operation Bouncy House. I just had to get that book. It was just like, yeah, I want to see what's going on in Matt Dinniman's world. So I got that book, and it's on my Nook, and I'm looking forward to actually sitting down and reading it probably this week coming up and everything. So yeah, I officially have any book that I actually really truly want to read and everything. So very happy about that. I am overly obsessed with my hair. Okay. Alright. Yeah, you're back. Okay. So I read a total of about 6 books this week. And the reason that I was able to read as many books as I was able to read this week was that I had 4 days off. And for me, the best way for me to kind of unwind and kind of relieve my stress is by reading. I did read a couple of these books on my devices because I wanted to take it to work and read it. But a couple of them were read just physically because I just was lazy and didn't want to try to see if they were available on any kind of device. Because I am trying to read solely physical books instead of getting the digital version of those books. So, yeah. So I'm going to rate this from worst to best, and I will be very blunt. I don't care if people absolutely adore this author and worships the ground that he or she walks on. I'm going to be honest with my reviews. Alright, so going through here. Alright, so the worst book, even though I gave it a 4-star rating, of course, is Fury of the Gods by John Gwynne. This was a very predictable ending of the series, which is why I say, and I said this in the previous video, do not make the ending so apparent. Yes, we don't know who dies and who lives, but we know that if you got people with powers, they're naturally going to win. So, not really a fan of this one. But I'm still keeping it. I gotta have my book trophies. Alright, the next one was Dune Messiah by Frank Herbert. I am trying to get into reading more science fiction. So, I will say this, while I did like the fact that the characters are much worse than they were in the previous book, I just felt like that a lot of the characters were not really growing that much. I might be wrong, but that was my impression. And I read this entirely physical. I did not borrow a digital copy from the library. I still felt as though there was no growth. So, hopefully the third book will be a little bit better. But to all you Dune fans, I am sorry if I'm insulting your favorite book series. But I honestly felt like that Dune Messiah was absolutely not needed to be written. Yeah. Alright. Then the next one is going to be No Escape by Maureen Stoufers. And this one is about these 4 kids who end up in this escape room. They're invited, and they gotta show their brains and everything. All in all, I did find this book to be enjoyable. I like how they work together to get out of there. But at the end of the day, um, I plan on to get another book by this author. Definitely. All right. Then the next one was Fear Street Dead End by R.L. Stine. This is about these kids that a lot of them should not be out of the house. And what happens is they get into a hit and run. And it comes out that the mayor's sister is the one that's dead. And they all make a pact to not tell anybody what happened. And we later on find out that the mayor's sister was already dead before they hit her. So it's like you can't murder a dead body. So that's impossible to do. I liked this book. R.L. Stine is one of my favorite favorite author from back when I was a teenager. So yeah, guys, I was a teenager at one time. I just thought that it was a great return to, to this world. Then the next one was A Court of Thorns and Roses by Sarah J. Maas. Absolutely loved this book. This is about a woman, a young lady called Freya. I'm probably mispronouncing her name. She is out hunting. Her family used to be wealthy. They're now poor. And what ends up basically happening is that she ends up killing this wolf that later on is discovered to be a fae. And part of her punishment for breaking the agreement, even though it's not I'm going to go and invade the human realm kind of breakage, she has to go into this world of the fae as a punishment. Her family is, of course, protected. We later on find out. But over time, she starts to have feelings for her captor, which is kind of something I had to kind of get around. But what ends up happening is she encounters a lot of these creatures that she's only read about. And also, she ends up having to do a trial. And we don't know if she's going to survive it. We don't know. So her surviving it was a shock. I thought they were going to kill her. However, if they did, we wouldn't have the other books. But she still may die. We don't know. All right. And the best book of the week is Brandon Sanderson's Rhythms of War. This is the 4th book in the Stormlight Archive. I had tried twice to actually get this book read or listened, and I was unable to. But however, because I had like 4 days off, and most of my time I did nighttime, or I did like one mid, I was able to get this book finally finished, and I'm really glad I did. I enjoyed it. It was everything the other books have always been about, which is basically making you read through a lot of things that you may not think is important, and then we have the big battle. But I loved it. It was a good book, and it was actually the best out of all of them. Anyways, so yeah. So that is my video for this week. This is my last video for the week. I have to do a mid tomorrow. So I'm going to get up and I'm going to be reading Killer Kung Pao. I will most likely read it in the dining room. And I'm going to read chapters 5 through to chapter 11. And then I work 12 to 5 tomorrow. So when I get home, if I am up to it, if I feel like I'm up to it, I will read some more, probably like 11 through to 15. There are 30 chapters in Killer Kung Pao, so I might have the book finished like by Thursday, or maybe Wednesday. So my goal for this week coming up is to read 2 books, and then that will essentially kind of end the month of February, because the last day of February is actually on Saturday. So my first reading wrap up for this week coming up will be the first day of first day of March. Okay, that is my video. Hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.